Hi, if you're new here, my name is Laite and I make videos about my life in Estonia, sometimes immigration, sometimes travel. Welcome. We'll be talking about immigration, as you must have seen from the title. I believe that before anyone decides to just get up, pack their bags, leave family, leave friends, leave businesses, leave homes, leave houses, leave good jobs to move to a new country, there are a number of things that you must have considered, you must have weighed, you must have put into consideration before you make that move. And for those people that are confused and don't even know where to start when it comes to moving to a new country, what are the things that I'm supposed to look for, what is important and what is not, this video is to help you navigate. If I were to move abroad for the very first time, these are the things that I will put into consideration. Number one is healthcare. So I'm African, I'm black, and I'm a woman. When it comes to healthcare, when it comes to the health of the African woman, there are a lot of nuances when it comes to that. And to be honest, I was looking at some figures when it comes to maternal mortality, maternal health, and some quote-unquote first world countries still have really high maternal mortality rate. Why is that a tongue twister? Maternal mortality rate when it comes to black women. So just imagine a country where black women are the minority, but when it comes to black women dying during childbirth, they are the majority. So you see that there's something wrong with those numbers. So healthcare is one of the first things that I will put into consideration before moving to a different country. Is it important to you that you have health insurance covered by the government, or you want to pay out of pocket for your own private insurance? Do you want to live in a country where an ambulance ride will cost you like $1,000, where it's cheaper to take a taxi to the hospital when you're at the point of death than just to call an ambulance? Do you want to live in a country where you pay your taxes and you are able to have access to amenities that can literally save your life? Food for thought. I have had experience with Estonian healthcare, and I must say, with every healthcare system, there's the good and the bad. There's no perfect healthcare system anywhere in the world. Ask anybody that has been to anywhere. Every system has the good and the bad, but does the good outweigh the bad? Or does the bad outweigh the good? Personally, from my own experience, I would say the good outweigh the bad, because here I am, alive and well, hale and hearty. I have a son that's alive, well, hale and hearty. I'll put a link to a video that I made with Joba and Yohera a few months ago. We talked about our motherhood experience, and I mentioned in that video that I had a C-section. So I did have a C-section. Among many other complications, I also had really high blood pressure with the pregnancy, and so I was like high risk throughout. And I had a doctor towards my third trimester. I think I met her in my end of second trimester. Honestly, before then, I didn't have a particular doctor, because the Estonian system is different. I mean the Estonia public health system. I don't know about the private health system. The way the public health system works, anytime you go to the hospital, you see the doctor that's on duty on that day, so to speak. So for my first trimester and the most part of the second trimester, my midwife would just book me on a date, and on that date I met with different kind of doctors. I think I only met the very same doctor like 2-3 times. Dr. Ridnoy. I can't remember his name, but I just know he was so intelligent. That's why I can't forget him. He was so intelligent, but I digress. So this is me giving you gist. I didn't have the same doctor until the end of my second trimester, where I was eventually referred to a specialist. Story for another day. And so this lovely woman was my doctor throughout the rest of my pregnancy, and I'm so grateful for that, because even though it was due to complications that I had to go and see her, I was always praying that I wanted my own doctor. I was tired of seeing different people every time. Like I wanted my, like, you know, the way we operate in Nigeria. You have your doctor. Any issues, you call your doctor, you know. Although most times it's private, story for another day. But I did want my own doctor, and I got my own doctor. And she did her best for me. Like, she was involved in my care. She actually cared. So I did have some experiences that were not all that pleasant, but I can say categorically that the good outweighed the bad. That's my own experience. Every other person might have their own experience and their own opinion. As I said earlier, I'm alive and well. I have a child that's alive and well. We are both like 100. So for me, the good outweighed the bad. What am I telling you? Do your research. Don't just jump into it. Everybody is going to Cambodia. I'm going to Cambodia. Everybody is going to Jamaica. I'm going to Jamaica. Do your own research. Most especially if you are a woman of color watching this video, do your research, and at least research the healthcare of the country that you are moving to and make an informed choice. Let's go to point number 2. Number 2 on my list is education. I am new to the education system in Estonia because I didn't school here, but now I have a child in kindergarten. And when I tell you that it's a system that I never imagined existed, that, to be honest, I grew up in Nigeria. In my country, Nigeria, 1-year-old, 2-year-olds are already going to proper school, as in school uniform, school bag, shoe, lunch box, proper school. But here, the integration into kindergarten, it made me think that, you know, when you want to plant a seed, I digress. When you want to plant a seed, and then you look for the best kind of soil, and then you add manure, and then you water it when you are supposed to. You don't put it in direct sunlight. Like, you do everything that you are supposed to do. The likelihood of that seed turning out right is pretty high. So for the first week of kindergarten, the first week, the parents were allowed to stay with the kids. So because they know the kids will be antsy, the kids will be anxious, the kids will be crying, they allowed us to stay with the kids to give them support. And that is so beautiful. Does it happen in other countries? I don't know. But like, so the kids are able to interact with each other. They're able to play with each other with the confidence that, oh, mama is there, dada is there. And like, it was a really, really unique experience. And they even told us that if our child had a favorite toy or a favorite 90 or even the mother's 90 that the child is allowed to bring, like, you are allowed to do everything to help the child get comfortable in the kindergarten. And then when they get incorporated properly, they have a strict schedule. They are not forcing them to learn ABCs and 1, 2, 3. And then around noon, they all have to take naps. They have breakfast. They have lunch. You don't have to pack anything for your child because they will feed your child 2-3 times depending on when you come to pick the child. That's my experience with the kindergarten system. It's a system that cares. So I will tell you, before you decide to make the move, do a little bit of research on how the education system is in the country that you are moving to. Because your child will not get a second chance at childhood. It's okay if you want to get it right from the beginning. Of course, nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes, but if you endeavor to get it right, it makes a whole lot of difference. I'll move on to point number 3. Let's talk religion. For me, yes, religion is important. Estonia is not a religious country, but we do have churches here. There are mosques, prayer houses here. There's Redeem, there's Mountain of Fire, there's Focus. I do believe there are Catholic churches here also. I know a number of countries frown upon evangelizing in public spaces, in the buses. So, as I said before, do your research before you decide. If that kind of thing is a non-negotiable for you, do your research. But yeah, there are churches here. Like, I do believe my church has like 3 services during the week. There's prayer, meeting, Bible study, regular church service. So like 3 to 4 times a week we do meet in church. I said we. Excuse me. Me sometimes. Yeah, so what am I saying? As an African woman, as a black woman thinking of immigrating, there are some things that you should think about. What are your core values? Those things that are non-negotiable for you. Like, okay, this country must have this, they must do this, they must do that. Write it down. That's a place that you can start from when you try to decide where you want to go. I didn't make this video to scare anybody. I hope I didn't, but it's important to know that moving to a new country is a whole different experience, and it can be a life-changing experience. And it's important for you, for me, for us to understand the nitty-gritty of what goes into making this kind of decisions so that we can make informed decisions. Do not be discouraged, do not feel overwhelmed, do not doubt yourself. If you do believe in your heart that you can do something, it's most likely that you will be able to do something. There's room for you to grow, there's room for you to improve. You can become a much better person by just making the move over the seas, over the oceans. History has it that a number of black women that immigrated to the abroad have made a name for themselves today. And even though we hear about these women, we see them on a daily basis, sometimes we don't remember that these women were once at this place that we are right now, thinking of packing their bags and moving to a new country. Did you know that our darling Chimamanda was actually an immigrant too? She was in the middle of uni in Nigeria and she packed up and left and went to the America. And look at where she is today. I know, of course, she was not a nobody. I believe her father was a professor or her mom. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But still, she was an immigrant. She started from somewhere and she made a name for herself, not just in Nigeria, not just like in diaspora. You cannot name African authors without naming Chimamanda. So I'm making this video to encourage you and encourage myself too. Like, we can do this. Just do your research, make sure you stay informed, and with God, all things are possible. Alright guys, this is where I end this video. If you enjoyed watching, let me know. If you'd like to see more videos like this, let me know. Alright guys, subscribe, like my video, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you all on my very next video. Bye guys.